You know, there's something fascinating about bodybuilding, isn't there? The way people sculpt their bodies, pushing themselves to the limit, chasing that perfect balance of strength and aesthetics. But have you ever stopped to think about how it all started? Today, I want to take you on a little journey through the history of bodybuilding. It's a story that's more than just lifting weights. It's about passion, culture, and the evolution of the human body as art. Let's rewind the clock way back. Like ancient Greece back. Ever seen those statues of Greek gods and athletes? Those guys were the original bodybuilders in a way. Back then, the idea wasn't just about being strong. It was about looking like you could wrestle a lion and win. Strength training was already a thing, but it wasn't bodybuilding as we know it. It was more about functional strength, whether for war or the ancient Olympic Games. The Greeks believed in the ideal body. Strong, balanced, and perfectly proportioned. They trained with what they had. Think stones, logs, and rudimentary weights. Around the same time, another key figure, Bernard McFadden, launched his Physical Culture magazine in America, selling over 100,000 copies a month. This was the late 19th century, and suddenly, there was this growing community of people interested in building their bodies. Other notable strength athletes emerged during this time, like George Hackenschmidt, who is famously credited with inventing the bench press. Now let's talk about Eugene Sandow, who is often called the father of bodybuilding. This guy was originally a circus performer, but he caught the eye of strongman Louis Attila. Attila noticed Sandow had a natural talent for lifting and took him under his wing. Sandow started winning strongman shows all over England, but something interesting happened during his tours. People were more amazed by how Sandow looked than by his actual feats of strength. Imagine that. You're there to lift heavy stuff, but everyone's more interested in how your muscles look. So Sandow started putting on muscle display performances, showing off his physique, and people loved it. This was a big shift. Sandow wasn't just lifting weights, he was presenting his body as a work of art. He even opened his own training institutions, launched a magazine line, and wrote books on how to train. One of his book titles even popularized the term bodybuilding, which had been quietly coined by a YMCA trainer named Robert J. Roberts back in 1881. Sandow also designed his own line of workout equipment, specifically for bodybuilding, at a time when such equipment was still pretty basic. In 1901, Sandow held the very first bodybuilding competition at the Royal Albert Hall in London. It was a big deal. 52 contestants competed for the grand prize, and even Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the guy who created Sherlock Holmes, was a judge. This event was a turning point, and soon after, McFadden held his own bodybuilding show in Madison Square Garden, which even featured women, a big deal back then. Now let's talk about the 1990s to the 2000s and 10s. This era was all about getting big, like really big. We're talking about the age of the mass monsters, where bodybuilders pushed the limits of size and conditioning. Ronnie Coleman was at the forefront of this, winning 8 Mr. Olympia titles in a row from 1998 to 2005. His rivalry with Jay Cutler was epic. Jay eventually dethroned Ronnie in 2006 and went on to win 4 Mr. Olympia titles himself. And it wasn't just about Ronnie and Jay. You also had guys like Kevin Levrone and Tom Platz, who became legends in their own right. Tom Platz was known for having some of the most insane leg development in the history of bodybuilding, and Kevin Levrone was a master of peaking at just the right time for competitions. This era was a blend of crazy size and incredible conditioning, and it really set the stage for what modern bodybuilding looks like today. Now let's talk about where we are today. Bodybuilding has come a long way since the days of lifting stones in ancient Greece. Today, it's a mix of science, art, and dedication. We understand so much more about nutrition, muscle growth, and training techniques. Athletes are pushing the limits of what's possible with their physiques. But at the same time, it's still about that same core idea, creating a body that's not just strong, but a work of art. Whether it's natural bodybuilding, classic physique, or the massive size of open bodybuilding, there's a place for everyone in this world. But bodybuilding isn't just about the athletes. It's had a massive impact on our culture. Think about it. How many people do you know who lift weights, even if they're not bodybuilders? The idea of fitness and looking good has trickled down into everyday life. Social media has taken it to another level, with influencers sharing their workouts, diets, and progress with millions of followers. It's a global phenomenon now, with competitions happening all over the world and gyms in nearly every town. Bodybuilding has transcended the stage. It's become part of how we think about health and fitness. So what does the future hold for bodybuilding? It's hard to say, but one thing's for sure. The passion that drove those ancient Greeks, that captivated audiences in the Victorian era, and that created legends in the Golden Era, is still alive and well today. Whether you're hitting the gym to compete, to stay fit, or just to feel good about yourself, you're part of that legacy. journey. Bodybuilding is more than just a sport. It's a testament to what the human body can achieve with hard work, dedication, and a bit of creativity. Thanks for joining me on this journey through the history of bodybuilding. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Also, check my training programs in the description. Keep lifting, keep striving, and I'll see you in the next one.